Building models can be a fun and exciting hobby for people of all age groups. Now, in this particular video, I'm going to show you how to build a resin model kit. Here's a list of the things you'll need to get started. For step 1, find the part sheet included with the model and make sure all the parts are accounted for. Now, usually they are there, but on rare occasions you might find that a piece or two is missing, and you'll have to prepare for that in advance. Step 2. Most kits will have at least a few pieces that have chunks of extra resin on them. These chunks are remnants from the casting or pouring process. Use your hobby knife to cut off any of these unneeded pieces of resin that do not belong on the kit. Be careful not to slice off anything that does actually belong on the finished piece. Step 3. Next, you want to sand all the spots that were cut with the hobby knife. Start with your medium grain, then use your fine grain, and finally, finish with the extra fine. By the time you're done with this, you should see a very smooth sheen and no trace of those lines. Step 4. Most pieces of resin kits also tend to have a slightly visible, sometimes jagged lines running down either side. This is because resin kits are made from 2-part rubber molds. All of these seam lines will need to be sanded down. Use the same order of sandpaper as in step 3 until all the pieces of the kit have been sanded smooth. Step 5. Some kits will have small holes caused by air bubbles in the casting process that will need to be filled. Take small dabs of your putty and press them into these holes. Wipe off the excess putty and allow it to dry. Sand the area lightly with the extra fine sandpaper to complete this process. Step 6. The next step is to do a test fit of all the pieces to ensure they all join together properly. To do this, simply take the pieces that will be joined together and press them firmly up against each other. Look for any noticeable gaps or seams in between the pieces that will need to be filled. Step 7. The final step in this process is to pin the model. Pinning is the process of adding metal wire to adjoining parts to strengthen their hold on one another. This process is only for large and medium pieces, as small parts are too thin and delicate to be drilled. Take your drill, using a small drill bit, and place a small hole in the center of each adjoining piece. Be careful not to drill too far into any of the parts. Drilling about ½ inch into a piece is good enough. Next, take your metal coil and cut 1-inch pieces and glue them into one side of an adjoining hole. Do this for all of your remaining pieces, and you will be able to connect the pieces of your kit without having to glue all of them together. This is important because it is much easier to paint model pieces individually rather than working on a fully glued kit. This concludes our tutorial on how to assemble a resin model kit. Thanks for watching.